So, by the time you watch this, I'm pretty sure the video will be about 130 views, maybe more so, as we speak. And that being, of course, the video where I talked about Bunny basically being the center point of the Metal Virus arc had the comic remained under the Archie license, which would have meant that the Metal Virus arc originally was going to go and be part of Archie after, the 300th issue. And the reason I'm doing this, I guess you could say, is a follow-up, because, again, it's just amazing. Whether you like Ian Flynn or you don't, it's just amazing to pick his brain through Q&As, and even to an extent Ken Penders, and even Karl Bollers, any other writers on the book, Aaliyah Baker and stuff, Evan Stanley, it's just amazing that when you pick their brains in a Q&A, whether it's through a podcast, a panel, whatever, an interview, you name it. It's just amazing that when you pick their brains and find out, certain things, like, what could have been had, let's say, the book remained with Archie, storyline-wise, character-wise. It's really, and I know it's cliche to say maybe, but it's really mesmerizing to learn about all this. I mean, again, with, the fact that Ian Flynn, dabbling in his mind and even dabbling down notes on it, considering Bunny to be a main catalyst, a main, feature factor in the Metal Virus arc, had Archie been the one to do it, and her, not only being the only one, but her possibly, joining along with Sonic and Nicole as maybe the only ones that could combat this and maybe even find a cure for it. I mean, obviously you could still do Sonic doing what he did, but now you also have Bunny in a similar situation, but because she's half robotic, even if she gets completely covered, she's not infected, which is amazing. And that would lead to a cure. And Nicole being made of nanites, damn, she can't be infected, but she could study it. The potential for storytelling is there. Potential for storytelling is there that we never got to see. And then it's not just, with Bunny being like one of the main catalysts in the Metal Virus arc had it, been published by Archie, but also to find out that one of the original ideas, character-wise, that Ian had, did make it into the IDW book, mostly the Whisper and Tangle miniseries. But the fact that he wanted to bring Mimic into Archie originally as a character, Mimic the octopus, the one that betrayed Whisper and her team in the IDW book, to know that he wanted to bring Mimic into Archie's books first, that is kind of intriguing, because you have to wonder, okay, if this is going to be, or not is, but if this was, I should say, going to be the same Mimic that we got in the IDW books, you have to, really think, okay, if this is going to be the same Mimic, who would be the Whisper to him? Who would be the one that would want revenge on him? Who would want to be the one to avenge what he took from them? Would it be one of the freedom fighters? Like Sally, Rotor, Antoine, maybe Bunny, Amy perhaps? Or even Sonic, if you want to go that way? Would it be one of the Chaotix? Would it be Vector, Mighty, Ray, Espio, maybe even Charmy, maybe even Knuckles himself? Or that archaeological girl, that blue armadillo-like archaeological girl that got introduced in the soft retcon. Would she want a piece of Mimic because maybe she knows of him, and perhaps he betrayed her and their team as well? We don't know. We don't know, because we're not certain whether or not this would have been the same kind of Mimic we got in IDW. But if Ian Flynn was already teasing bringing him, oh, not teasing, but considering to bring him in before, I guess, that was shot down, I would have to say that, yeah, I'd have to say that we would probably have gotten the same Mimic in Archie that we got in IDW. But again, the question is, who would be the Whisper? Who would be the character to represent, or be in the role of Whisper, I should say, that would want revenge on him? or want to get back at him because of the personal history? That's a question that only I think Ian could answer, honestly. But yeah, when you go to these Bumblecasts, and I'm not doing this as a shout out or a promotion for the Bumblecast podcast or anything like that. I'm just saying that when you talk to someone like Ian Flynn or Leah Baker or Ben Bates or Tracy Yarlin or Evan Stanley or Ken Penders or Karl Bollers, when you pick their brains and you find out that, hey, these are the stories we wanted to go in or go with. These are the stories we wanted to go with. These are the directions we wanted to go with them. It really just blows my mind of what could have been. Of what could have been had certain situations not occurred behind the scenes. I mean, Karl Bollers, whether you like the guy or you don't, obviously had some great ideas in mind. He had some great ideas in mind, storyline-wise, for the characters. Ken Penders, whether you like the guy or you don't, and apparently this, as I've talked about before, and this new information, and I do apologize for the stuttering. That I'm tired. I did work today, so I'm a little tired while I'm doing this. But like I say, Ken Penders, is someone else that it's amazing to find out the stories he wanted to do. And right now he's in a situation where apparently new information has come out that he probably lied, if not definitely lied, about the whole, not signing certain documents when it came to his characters and, basically signing them over to Archie and Sega kind of deal. So, there's that. But yeah, even he's someone to pick the brains of. And then those that worked with them, like Evan Stanley, Ben Bates, Tracy Yarlin, and in the such, to pick their brains, whether it's through Twitter Q&As, panel Q&As, interviews, whatever, to find out all this information of what could have been, in the Archie book, had the book, remained, the Archie Sonic book that is, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable to know. And I know, obviously, the same could be said for the IDW book. Because I'm sure there's a lot of storyline ideas right now that Ian Flynn wanted to do, that Evan Stanley wanted to do with the book. But they couldn't, so they had to go and do other things. Like, I'm sure there's certain moments and scenes in the Metal Virus arc Ian wanted to do, but he couldn't because he got the kibosh on them. I'm pretty sure there's some story arcs that Leah Baker and Evan Stanley wanted to do, but IDW and Sega gave that the kibosh. So you can only wonder what those stories and maybe even certain moments could have been in the book, in the current IDW book, but got to kibosh later on. You have to really wonder. Because again, I'm sure there are certain prominent scenes that Ian wanted to put into the Metal Virus arc, but never got a chance. There was probably some prominent scenes Evan wanted to put in the recent story arc with, Amy, Rouge, and Cream, but never got a chance. But again, it's just really intriguing to think about all this. Really intriguing. So my suggestion, the next time you talk to these guys in a Q&A, try to pick their brains and get answers to what could have been.